Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me. Well, I'm back again with some Spellbinders Club kits. We're going to create another card using 3 of them. We have the large die of the month club kit called Pop of Summer. We have the clear stamp and die of the month club kit called Burst of Summer, which is all greetings. And then we're going to be using the poolside embossing folder of the month club kit. For my card today, it's going to be a 5-step card, and for my background, we're going to be using the embossing folder. And you break out any embossing folder, you could do the same thing. Greeting, of course, is the stamp set. My focal point is going to be that parrot and our Pop of Summer die set. He's very easy to put together. And then for my home panel, I'm bringing in another die set from Spellbinders. This is the Arch, Punch, and Pierce plate. Let me show you what it looks like. It's really pretty. And I'm going to be just using the middle arch here. If you have just an arch die set, you could use that. Or you could just create a frame. I think if you wanted to just use your rectangle dies and create a frame, I think you would get a similar look. Get started with step number 1 and create a focal point. We're going to do some die cutting with our parrot pieces. Okay, I have some Spellbinders Poppy cardstock, and this is the tail end and the largest part of the feathers of the bird. Okay, and then the second layer is, let's see, I think it's this one. This is the second layer, has the body and some more wings. I'm going to cut this out with orange. This is Spellbinders Persimmon. And then we have some yellow. I'm going to cut out our bird here with the wings and the face with my beeswax. And then I wanted a lighter yellow. Okay, this is not Spellbinders. This is Simon Says Stamps Lemon Chiffon. I've yet to find a color that is a real pretty yellow that I like. Spellbinders Chamomile was like my perfect favorite yellow, and I can't find it. If you guys have any suggestions on a real pretty yellow, let me know. This is the front part of the bird. We're going to cut out that with my lemon chiffon from Simon. Okay. Okay, we have the legs and the beak of our bird. That goes with black cardstock. Then there's another layer to the tail feathers, and then this beak portion I'm going to cut out with my orange here. And I think, oh, this piece. And then we have this piece here. I'm going to cut this out. This is the cheeks and the little tongue portion on the inside of the mouth. I'm just going to bring in a small piece of white cardstock and we'll cut that out. I have some green here, peridot and rainforest, and we're going to cut out some leaves. We're just going to do several sets, and then I'm going to add a flower to my scene today, and there's no flowers really in this die set, but there kind of is. This is the inside piece of the citrus slice, which could be an orange, a lemon, or a lime. This is the inside piece, and it looks just like a flower. So I'm going to die cut this out 3 times with white cardstock, and we're going to create a flower with that. Once everything is die cut, we're going to go ahead and layer them together. I'm going to go ahead and add this tail piece. This goes here. Lovely. And then we're going to add a little. Now I'm trying to figure out this one. I'm going to add a little glue here to that little white piece on the beak, and then this curves around so it kind of looks like his tongue, and then we're going to add a dot of glue at the top and bottom, and then we just layer this piece here to create the bird. It's 4 layers, and it's very, very easy to layer together. Okay, first we add some glue here, and then we can add this portion. It lines up with the bottom. We can add a little glue here at the top, and then we can add this piece, and then we can go ahead and add a little more glue, and then we can add the lighter yellow right over the top. And he already has a little bit of dimension with all the layers. And then when you add the little beak, he just comes to life. Look, there he is. How cute. So we have his little feet here. We'll add a dot of glue, and then now we can add our tail. And then these little pieces are for his cheek. So his cheeks. So I'm going to just color them in with my RV10 Copic marker. And then we can add his little cheeks. I'm going to flip him around. We'll put a foam square behind him. They're very easy to create flowers out of them. You can see I already made 2. They make perfect flowers. The only thing is you need something to go behind the center of it. And so I have some of my, this is my beeswax. And I have a punch. This is a 5/8, no, a 3/8 punch. And I'm just going to punch a small circle. And then I'm going to add some glue behind here, and then we're just going to put this behind that flower or citrus piece. And that's all there is to this. Let's go ahead and add some leaves. We'll just put that there in case we want to use it. That's going to be my focal point. We're going to move on to step number 2 and create our home panel. I mentioned the arches, the arch punch and pierce plate. It's really pretty. This is what the die looks like. It's just a gorgeous die. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. I'm going to bring in some white cardstock, and then I'm going to die cut out. This is what that arch looks like, the inside piece. And then I went through my arch die sets and cut out an arch that would fit. It doesn't line up perfectly, but it does fit behind here. I think Spellbinders has arches that will fit perfectly behind here. This one that I'm using is actually from Simon. I don't have the Spellbinders arch die set. At least I thought I did, and I don't know what I did with it. Okay, let's add some color to this piece. I'm going to use my inks here. We're going to start off with 2 inks. I have Field and Cadet. These are Simon inks. And we're going to add some blue to the bottom. And I'm just going to add color and kind of fade up. I don't want to go all the way to the top. Just want a little extra color. And then I'm going to add some green at the bottom, which will probably for the most part be hid. There we go. We'll just have some blue and some green. Okay, I'm going to take some glue, and I'm going to glue this on my arch here. But I'll press this down, and then I'll put foam tape behind here, and then this will be my home panel. Now we're going to move along to step number 3 and create our greeting. For my greeting, we're going to do some two-tone with the greeting in the stamp set that says, "Let's see where this goes." I want to color in the goes with some red and yellow to go with my bird. So I have it in my stamping positioner. We need to do a little bit of masking. I'm going to bring in my tape here, and I'm going to mask off the goes. How I do it, I just cover it with my tape. This looks like regular tape, but it's actually a low-tack tape from Scotch. I'm going to use my Memento because it dries fast. And I just ink this up. Then you remove the tape, and then you can stamp this here. I'm going to wipe off this portion, and then we're going to take another piece of tape and mask off the part that we just stamped. And then for the goes, I think it's easier to bring in my Pawsitively saturated ink cubes. I'm going to start off with my Sunbeam. We'll add that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gradient with the apple underneath. And then just so, let's see, and just so it kind of blends together. I'm going to use my blending brush, my detail blending brush, and kind of take away that line with it, remove the tape, and then I can stamp this over here. I think that looks really fun. Now let's take the coordinating die set and cut this out. I think this one is it. I'll just put this back, and then I am going to put some foam tape behind here. I have some foam strips that will work perfectly. And that's all there is to my greeting. Let's go ahead and build our home panel. So this is good to go. Let's add our little bird here, which he is so cute. Okay, I think that's a good spot for him. And then we're going to add some flowers. Let's add some flowers here. Wonderful. And I'm thinking I may want to put my greeting underneath the arch, since it's the same width. We'll see. It's either going to go here or here. I'm going to wait until we do our next step, which is step number 4, and create a background. That is going to be really simple. We're going to emboss a A2 panel of white cardstock with a poolside. I love that texture. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of my card. We're just going to keep it white so those colors will kind of shine, and that's all I'm doing for my background. Let's go ahead and bring in our home panel, and we'll add this. Bring in my home panel and place this in the middle. Lovely. And I didn't cover up my ink, but I think we can use a gem or something to cover that up. And then I'm putting my greeting down here on the bottom. Now we're going to move on to step number 5, which means it's time to embellish. I'm using my Spellbinders Aquamarine gems, and this will give me a chance to cover up that little ink spot. I have a little spot here too. Let's see if we can cover these up. Just a few. It worked out great. And then I'm going to bring in my glazing glue. Glazing glue is like glossy accents, but it is thinner. And I'm going to go over the beak of my bird here. Maybe the flower centers too. We'll add a little extra shine to those. And that will finish off my card. Fun little tropical card using lemon wedges for flowers. I think it turned out great. A little extra inspiration using the large size of the month club kit for this month. That's my project. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.